The middle class of America makes up more than half of its population, and this means if this class is in trouble, it won't be out of place to say the whole of America is in trouble. As it is, America's middle class is in trouble. America is in trouble. In today's video, you'll see how inflation has made life difficult for middle-class families in America and the best option to cope in these hard times. Continue watching to know why many American families have decided Mexico is a solution to America's inflation problem. The middle class have been the most affected by the economic crisis happening around the world. A household with a yearly income of $78,000 is labeled middle class. Their plight has been what they had accepted and tried to cope with as best as they could. But with the COVID-19 pandemic bringing an unseen shade of hardship around the world, the middle class was not prepared for this stage of extreme difficulty. Now add to this economic recession that's currently happening, but your government refuses to admit the middle class is nothing but overwhelmed. This period can be described as the most challenging for those who belong to the middle class. The economic situation continues to deteriorate, as what used to be enough for a household in a month is no longer sufficient to see them through half of it. One needs to earn twice what they did in the past to be able to meet their needs. Americans are working harder and longer than they used to maintain a decent living. But even with them earning double what they did 5 years ago, it isn't enough for them to meet basic needs like healthcare, childcare, and education. No thanks to the inflation that's bent on crippling the economy. I guess we also have the Federal Reserve to thank for bringing us to this point. With little or no foresight, they increase interest rates to solve one financial problem without minding that inflation will be the consequence of their actions. Just this first quarter of the year, we saw major banks acting crazy and getting taken over or closing for good. The inflation ravaging the economy has made the income of the middle class look like nothing. According to a survey done by the Consumer Price Index, inflation has gone up 9.1%, and we thought things were bad when it was up by 6%. This by far is the worst we've seen. The rising costs of living mock what the living class are earning. It has made it hard to save or do something meaningful like start a business to break even. Yeah, none of these seems feasible in the near future. Living paycheck to paycheck, relying on credit cards and loans are now the norm for America's middle-class family. Saving some money at the end of the month is alien to them because the money coming in is barely sufficient to get by. Those who have little savings see that they can't help but take from it to meet some needs. They're having to cut back spending to the barest minimum and purchasing only the most important things. Not only is inflation having severe financial implications for the middle class, but it is also affecting their health, physically and mentally. And it is not that these people don't know what to do to prevent these situations. They can't afford the means to. Eating healthily is the most important factor for living a healthy life. And eating healthy doesn't come for free. It's not cheap either. Well, people have got to eat to live, right? We're not talking of hunger being the problem now. There's too much cheap nonsense we can buy. Because when the best is too expensive, the cheap stuff that's available will have to do. How do you think these limitations are going to make people feel? That's right, depressed. The world has seen a happier set of people. These days, it's tired of looking at grumpy people. But really, it is difficult to be genuinely happy when you think of what you would like to do, but you can't. Even the things that are a complete must-to-do are difficult. I mean, no one thinks of their rent that's due and breaks into a cheerful laugh. This will make our wants naturally take the back seat, hoping for better days ahead. The Russian and Ukrainian war has done a good job too, to ensure the middle class of America never gets a break. As a result of this war, the price of energy has increased along with the prices of foodstuff. These two countries are major suppliers to the US. You can't exactly conduct business where there's a bomb going off every other minute. Scholars are worried that the steady prices of goods will make consumers limit their spending, like it isn't happening right before our eyes already. Apparently, this will affect the country's economy and plunge it into a recession. Again, like this isn't already happening. How exactly do they define a recession? Alright, that's enough with the problem of America and its middle class. What you want to know is how to get out of this dismal situation. You're probably familiar with what's going on in Mexico. Millions of Americans are trooping into this country to escape the biting economy of America. I'll tell you what the fuss is all about. Mexico is presently the hope of wounded Americans. Several factors have made Mexico the best option for Americans seeking to have a good life, especially the middle-class household in America. This country's economy is witnessing smooth growth. The number of businesses relocating, nearshoring, and setting up here is making sure of its fast development. Mexico is a favorite pick of individuals and businesses because the cost of living there is relatively low in contrast to that of America. Labor is cheap and taxes are fair to business owners. When you move to Mexico, it'll surprise you how far your dollar can take you. You'll be able to afford services you couldn't back home. Prices of good and healthy food are cheap. You won't be forced to buy food of low quality anymore in Mexico. You'll be meeting all of your food goals easily in Mexico. The possibility of owning a home easily in Mexico is another reason that appeals to those who consider moving to Mexico. Real estate prices are unbelievable over there. Houses are affordable for less than half of their cost in America. Owning a home is a dream of virtually all Americans, and only a few are able to make this dream come true. In Mexico, however, you can be a homeowner with ease. The proximity of Mexico to the US is yet another reason why Mexico is a great option to relocate to. You can decide to fly or drive when going. For those who have one or two reasons for coming back often to the US, both countries' closeness is a bonus. This could also mean that you don't have to quit your job because you can work remotely or even commute back and forth. Earning in dollars while living in Mexico is going to make you live like royalty. Mexico's healthcare system is something else that makes it the perfect place to move to. It has highly trained doctors who are warm and pay attention to their patients. Lots of foreigners come to Mexico for treatment only. This speaks volumes. Getting treatment in Mexico is cheap too. For a major procedure, you'll probably be spending about half of the cost in the US. Moving to Mexico is going to do you more good than you can possibly think of. Mexicans are friendly people who are only too willing to help a stranger. Many know how to speak the English language, so you'll be able to make new friends. In no time, you'll begin feeling at home. The weather is going to make you fall in love with this state. Mexico has the nicest weather you could dream of. It matches perfectly with the beautiful view. You can find your favorite weather in Mexico, as it is a country with various climates. How do you like it? Warm? Sunny? Cold? Cozy? Mexico has got you covered. When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, right? The economy of the US is showing no signs of returning to its former glory. Inflation, high taxes, high cost of living, and an ongoing recession is proving to be more than a lot for America's middle-class family to endure. Moving to Mexico is one sure way this class can ensure that they can afford a good life. Surely, Mexico's low cost of living, low taxes, affordable real estate, healthcare system, and nice weather are sufficient to make you want to make a move today.